Some rules are meant to protect the neighborhood. But when the rules go too far, someone has to stand up for what's right. My name's Tom Weaver, and for me, it all started with one simple thing: the American flag on my front porch. I've flown that flag every morning since my son joined the military. He's stationed overseas, and every time I see it wave in the wind, it reminds me why we're proud to live here. Freedom, sacrifice, unity. But apparently, my HOA didn't agree. The notice. It was a Friday morning when I saw the letter in my mailbox. Violation notice, unauthorized exterior display, immediate removal required. I stood there in disbelief. Unauthorized display. It was a flag, not a billboard. I called the HOA office. A voice on the other end said, "Mr. Weaver, our community guidelines prohibit any exterior displays not pre-approved by the Architectural Committee." "You mean the American flag?" I asked. "Yes, sir, it disrupts visual uniformity." Visual uniformity. That was their reason for banning the flag that soldiers like my son fought to protect. I tried to stay calm. "I'm not taking it down," I said. "You'll have to fine me." And they did. Every single day. The fines. The first fine was $50. Then $100. By the end of the week, $350. When I refused to pay, they threatened to put a lien on my property. That's when it stopped being about money. It became about principle. I started talking to neighbors. Turns out I wasn't the only one. A few people had been told to remove small flags from their gardens or mailboxes too. Most complied, afraid of the fines. But me, I wasn't backing down. The plan. That night, I sat at my kitchen table staring at that letter. My wife, Karen, looked at me and said, "Tom, if they're scared of one flag, imagine how they'll feel about 100. That's when the idea hit me. I went online and ordered 150 small American flags. The next morning, I started knocking on doors. Some people were hesitant. Some were angry. But when I explained what the HOA had done, they all said the same thing. "Count us in." By the end of the day, half the neighborhood had agreed to put up a flag in their yard. And the next morning, Maplewood Lane looked like the 4th of July came early. Flags lined the sidewalks, rooftops, porches, even the mailboxes. It was beautiful. The HOA reacts. At 9 a.m., my phone rang. It was Diane, the HOA president. "Mr. Weaver, this is a coordinated violation of our rules." "It's a coordinated expression of freedom," I said. "You and your neighbors are in breach of community aesthetics." "You can't ban the American flag," I told her. "Federal law protects it." There was silence, then she said coldly, "We'll see about that." That afternoon, HOA representatives drove through the neighborhood, taking photos of every house with a flag. They must have realized pretty quickly that was almost every house. The viral moment. The next day, my neighbor's teenage daughter posted a video online. It showed the HOA workers driving around, snapping photos while American flags waved behind them. She added the caption, "Our HOA banned the flag, so we put up more of them." Within hours, it exploded. Local news picked it up. Then national media. Even veterans groups started sharing it. Suddenly, our little street became a symbol of unity. The showdown. A few days later, the HOA called an emergency meeting. It was held at the community center. The place was packed, standing room only. Diane tried to keep control, but people were fired up. One neighbor shouted, "You fined us for flying our flag. Are you proud of that?" Another said, "We fought for this country. You think you can fine patriotism?" I stood up. This isn't about rebellion, I said. This is about respect for the flag, for our soldiers, for what this country stands for. You can't take that away. Then I held up a printout of the Freedom to display the American Flag Act of 2005, a federal law that protects homeowners' right to display the U.S. flag on their property, even in HOA communities. The room went silent. Even Diane looked stunned. According to this, I continued, you're not just wrong, you're violating federal law. The resolution. 2 days later, the HOA sent out an official statement. We apologize for the misunderstanding regarding flag displays. All previous fines will be rescinded. The HOA fully supports the right of homeowners to display the American flag. They didn't just drop the fines, they announced they'd sponsor a 4th of July neighborhood parade that year. And guess who they asked to lead it? Yeah, me. The ending. That summer, the entire community came together like never before. Kids on bikes with streamers, veterans waving from their porches, neighbors barbecuing together, even Diane was smiling. As the sun set, I stood by my porch, looking at the same flag that started it all. The one they said didn't belong. The one that reminded me of my son and of every person who served before him. Sometimes it takes a fight to remind people what freedom really means. And sometimes a single flag is enough to start a movement. Fade out, gentle music, flag waving in the golden evening light.